Okay, in this video we are going to solve variables on both sides. It's a one variable, which you see one variable is x, and then we're going to solve for x, but we have it on both sides. I always look at this as, you'll have people that'll look at it as a balance, balance beam or scale or something like that. A lot of people do that. And so a scale, if you remember, looks like this, and they use the equal sign, and they'll say, hey, you got to keep the balance still balance. Okay, so whatever you do to one side, you have to do the other. So if you add 10 to one side, okay, if you add 10 to one side, you got to add 10 to the other side. All right. So I like to use the analogy of tennis. All right, and so tennis is just a little different way. There are a couple little ways you serve. You could serve a really fancy serve. Okay, I consider this to be the fancy serve. This right here to be the fancy serve. And then there's the easy serve where you just drop the ball and you hit it over. That's this type of serve. So this is the professional where you throw it up in the air and hit it and grunt. This one is the just drop the ball and tap it over. Okay? So we're going to think of this as a tennis match if you don't mind. So I'm going to create our net. All right, so we'll put a net up here. And so the net is at the equal sign. So there's our net. Okay? Alright, and as you know as much as I do, there's sides on each side of the tennis court. Alright, so we're going to kind of talk about putting variables on one side and numbers on the other. So our goal is to get the x on one side and our numbers on the other. And our numbers on the other side. Okay, that's our goal. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to balance, basically serve. So I always tell you can serve, anybody can serve any type of serve they want to. So we can give this side the serve, or we can give this guy the first serve. It doesn't matter. So let's say that we go ahead, and I'm just going to pick somebody at random. We're going to go ahead and say that we are going to let these guys serve first. Now they have a choice. They can serve the fancy serve, the professional one with the 10x, or they can serve the easier one with the negative 23. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and serve the easy serve because I like my x's on this side of the tennis court and I like my numbers on this side. Alright, so I'm looking at it. It's a negative 23, so the opposite of negative 23 is add 23 to both sides. Now remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do the other. So I'm adding 23. This becomes a zero pair. Alright, we bring down my 10x. Now we have a positive 29 and a positive 23, so we're going to add those, and that gives me 52. And I'm going to bring down my negative 3x. Alright, now that I have that, now because I hit the easy serve over there, they're going to return, but they're not going to give me an easy one. They're going to hit the fancy one back over to me. Alright, so they're actually going to take the other guy, this guy here, and they're going to hit it over here to me. Instead of a negative 3x, they're going to do the opposite, which is add 3x to both sides. This becomes a zero pair because a negative 3x plus 3x equals 0. Alright, and then so I'm going to bring down my 52. And then 10x, that's a positive 10x, and a plus 3x gives me 13x. Alright, so we look at our variable. What's being done to our variable? It's being, my variable's x, it's being multiplied by 13, so the opposite of multiply by 13 is divide both sides by 13. And then this makes x equals 4. Alright, so that's our answer 4. So if we actually tested this, we could put 4 into both of the problem above, and it should be exactly the same. So we're going to take this side here, we're going to take 29 minus 3, and put a 4 in for x. And this side here, the tennis court, we're going to put the 4 in for x, and we're going to say minus 23. We're just going to do the math. This is 40 minus 23. That is 17. This is going to be 29 minus 12. That is going to equal 17. So you can see 17 is their number. Now, if we were to graph this actual order pair, remember an order pair goes X and then Y. My order pair would be 4 and 17. Okay, now I would like to try to do it with an inequality. It's the exact same problem. We're just going to see what happens when we do it with inequality. And the inequality here is greater or equal to. So let's do the same thing. Just think of it as a tennis court. Remember, like I said before, this is really your net right here. Alright, so this is my net right there. And so I'm going to be hitting the balls over from left to right, depending on what kind of serve I want to. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I think I'm just going to serve them over just like I did before. Alright, so I'm going to take negative 2/3 and I'm going to serve it over there. That's an easy one, so I'm going to add 23 to both sides. Bring down my 10x. This becomes your 0 pair. And then we got is greater or equal to, and this is going to be 52 minus 3x. I'm going to subtract 3x to both sides, or I'm sorry, add 3x to both sides. And you can see it's the exact same thing as what we've done before. This 13x is greater or equal to 52. This becomes a 0 pair, so we just kind of eliminate that. Alright, we divide everything by, you see x is being multiplied by 13, so we're going to divide both sides by 13. And x is going to be greater or equal to 4. Now notice I didn't flip it. And the reason why I didn't flip it is because we are not multiplying or dividing a negative away from the variable. It's all positive, so we're not going to flip it. Now, if this was a negative and we divide it, then we would flip it, but we're not in this situation. All right? So this would be our situation for this.